folks. Another episode of Ryan Reviews Everything, and we are talking about the latest episode of Power Book. And let's get right into it. You already know there's a lot going on. I'm not going to go step by step, scene by scene. Just going to go through some of the highlights that at least caught my attention. And there is definitely a lot to get to. I think the thing that caught my attention the most is the Monet storyline. If there was ever an award like the Manipulator of the Year award, or of the season in this case, you got to give it to Monet, man. She is making moves, pulling strings. You know, of course, they already did the thing to kill Kai, and that was dirty in the first place. He's trying to move in on Monet, and, Lorenzo Tahala's not even cold yet. But anyway, the fact that her and Kane, they kill Kai. She asked Kane to leave the room for whatever reason, to check on his brother or whatever. She sends the text to Gordo from Kai's phone, and next thing you know, putting a whole Lorenzo murder on Kai and whoever this other person is that he's texting, which of course we know was Gordo. So for that to happen, and then next thing you know, Drew finds out that Gordo was the one who truly had something to do with Lorenzo's death. That was well played. Well played for Monet. And I know that might have sounded complicated verbally, but if you saw the episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, that was wild. So she is clearly willing to do everything in her power to not have Lorenzo's death, put on her. She gave the green light for it. And you know how these things go. It's like what's hidden in the dark will eventually come out to the light, or what have you. So sooner or later it is going to come, but she is doing everything in her power to prevent that from happening. So I thought that was wild. Unfortunately for Drew, he found out the truth that Gordo is the one who killed Lorenzo, and he had to put Gordo down. So that is what it is. Also, I think the funniest highlight, of course, in this episode definitely has to be the Saleem and Diana drama. Of course he comes through with the corny, spoken word poem, like, as if that's gonna win Diana back. And I always find that funny. It's like sometimes most of these at least to me, some of these spoken word poems, like you just be saying a whole bunch of nothing, and then next thing you know, some women pretend like they understand what was really said. Next thing you know, harps melted and all that jazz. I'm glad that Diana saw through it. She's like, you just said a corny ass poem and think that's supposed to get me to like you again. So Saleem is definitely showing, more and more as these episodes keep going. I like Saleem less and less. He's just becoming a cornball more and more as the season progresses. The moment that she was like, nah, I still don't like you. That poem was whack. If anything, you got to do more than just some bum ass poem and a rose. And next thing you know, he's letting it all hang out. Look, I know he's selling drugs out of the candy shop. And if you ain't rocking with me, then you can just leave the candy shop. It's starting to get very, very catty. Very catty. You didn't get your way with Diana, so now you try to throw your weight around and all this other stuff and threaten her with the whole drug thing. But I thought it was, hilarious. Diana came back with the receipts, as they say. And hey, Diana gave Saleem that 8 Mile treatment. Like, look, you ain't come from no struggling family with no single mom. You got adopted by a white family, and they were very great parents, and your name is really Terrence. Well, you get the point. You've seen 8 Mile. So I thought that was hilarious. All this, I'm from the, tough, rough up, single mom upbringing was all BS. And I'm like, hey, man, put the cards on the table. Look, I will air your business out that you really came from this whole prep school background in Silver Spring, and your parents voted for the Orange Man, as she called it, all that type of stuff. I thought was hilarious. So, yeah, man. And still sticking with Diana, just to wrap that part up. She still is the person I feel sorry for the most in terms of the Tejada household. unfortunately she got arrested at the end of the episode. And I feel like there's a big difference, if you like, for example, between Tariq and Diana. I dislike Tariq because his upbringing. Yes, his family was into the drug thing, but at any point they did not ask Tariq to be part of it. Tariq voluntarily wanted to become part of the drug gang. Diana, on the other hand, she just wanted to be like a regular student. I just want a regular college girl life. And it was her parents who was dragging her into the drug game. Kane stopped at the, on campus at first to ask her to, push some weight. And then, of course, her father came through a couple times and asked her for the same thing. So it's just like, if you compare the two, Tariq voluntarily wanted to be part of that drug life. Diana was kind of voluntold or, kind of dragged into it by her family. So for her to get arrested, of course they got that secret camera to catch people going in and out, taking drugs. And I think that's why she got arrested. At first I wonder if maybe Saleem was like some type of informant or something like that. But that definitely doesn't seem like his MO. I feel like he's just the wannabe woke dude who really came from this, protected, adopted white family lifestyle, so yeah, man. And I think the third highlight that I thought was very, very interesting and ultimately could put Brayden into some deep shit is he finds out that Weston Holden's is really a huge Bernie Madoff-like Ponzi scheme. And he found a secret room where he just did all the discovery in a span of like 5 minutes. But yeah, that's troubling because now you got these drug dealers' money wrapped up in Weston Holden's, and the money that is in a Ponzi scheme. And another thing, I do find the Power universe very entertaining. But some of the stuff do be hilarious. It's like when he confronts his uncle about, running a Ponzi scheme, and the uncle's assistant for what it's worth. He's like, yeah, man. They're like, yo, what was it? If you ever saw about this whole Ponzi scheme thing, we know you're selling drugs and in the establishment. And he's like, what? How do y'all know that? Y'all, did you set me up, talking to the assistant? And it's like, oh, we knew from the jump. And it's like anybody could tell. It's like, okay, what was it? The personal trainer, exercise guy who sells drugs on the low is murdered. You two come along and people are still able to buy drugs within the building. Anybody can put that together. So it's not like some rocket science thing. So for him to be surprised that someone else found out about it was hilarious to me. And of course, you can't forget about Tariq and just everything. I don't know how people just always seem to believe Tariq. Like, out of all the stuff that he be lying to your face about, people just still believe him. Senator Tate still, believed him when about the whole drug thing, which of course ended up being true. So I get that, but it's like, he like burned you the last episode, so I'm just surprised that you took him at his word in the first place. Still tugging at Lauren's heartstrings. Granted, he found evidence with that too, in terms of Effie confessing about, murdering Lauren. But even still, it's like, the feds still want you for so many other reasons, dude. It's not just, getting your name cleared about the whole Lauren murder. Like you said, like they got this whole RICO case against you thing. It's looking tough. So yeah, man, I just I'm gonna be interested in how that's turning out. It definitely seems like Tariq is definitely on the verge of trying to set Effie up, and that's just gonna be bad. And of course, the final funny thing I'm gonna say is the replacement of Redman with this other guy playing being the replacement brother. That's just hilarious in itself. And just that whole storyline. I think that's the least interesting storyline I have is the lawyer's brother. So that's really all I got. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree or disagree with anything. Hey, love it or hate it, that's my review. Peace.